Chapter 1. The Opening of Labyrinth. 2 years have passed since entering school. I will soon be 11 years old. Reese has become my disciple for these 2 years, and school life has been smooth sailing. My height grew, childish appearance faded away considerably, and not to mention, impressiveness came. It feels like that. By obtaining new knowledge at school, my magic formation technique is getting more skillful. If I work a little harder, I can draw an intermediate level magic formation. The training also has gotten more severe, and every day has passed with busy work coupled with fun at school. And now, my disciples are. Good morning, Sirius Sama. Amelia. In the morning, I am woken up by Amelia in my room at Diamond Cottage. I usually wake up by myself in the morning, but she wakes up earlier than me, so she began to come to wake me up. The morning sun can't be seen yet or even around this time, and to think that it takes several minutes from dormitory to get here, that is the result of waking up early. 2 years ago, the siblings refused living in the student dormitory. It was a good reason, with us being acquaintances, together with a friend called Reese who also became our companion. She has good relationships with classmates nowadays. Good morning, Amelia. Is there anything planned for today? Sirius. The plan is to go to the Galgan Company after school. Amelia. After these 2 years past, her femininity is becoming even more apparent, not to mention that she has become even more beautiful. Her chest seems to be growing well. Her ambience has also become grown up, and sometimes I'm surprised with her gestures. My body begins to be aware of women, presumably because of how charming she has become. She measured her chest together with Reese the other day, and their joyful voice, during that time, could be heard by me who was next of the room. She also behaves like a secretary these days. I seem to be spoiled rotten by her, but she wants to do it, and since she begs for it, I let her do whatever she likes. She's becoming more and more like a servant. Amelia was making sure that I was fully awake before she left the room after preparing a change of clothes. Well, let's go out cheerfully today as well then. Sirius. Shaking off the sleepiness, I walked towards the kitchen after I finished changing into the clothes, and Amelia had already started preparing the breakfast. How is Reese? Although she ran until she couldn't stand yesterday, is she all right this morning? Sirius. Thanks to Sirius Sama's treatment, she is walking without any problems. She will come any time now. There she is. Amelia. When Amelia turned her eyes to the door with an upright ears, the door opened slowly and Reese made an appearance. Good morning, Sirius-san. Ah, I made it this time. I am also ready to go. Reese. Reese also has grown up without losing to Amelia. She lined up in the kitchen with her blue hair drifting when lumped together. Because the kitchen is small, if 3 people lined up, it would become cramped as expected. Just leave it to us here, Sirius Sama. Please take a break. Amelia. That's right. Please wash your face at the well outside. Reese. My back was pushed along, and I was thrown out from the kitchen. This pattern happens a lot these days. The end result is all of my work being snatched away when they are both together. I went towards the well with a feeling of a father that goes on a holiday, and a bipedal, big wolf was covered with water. Ah, morning, Aniki. Royce. Is that Royce? Why are you transformed, Sirius? I have to train by transforming occasionally to get used to it. Royce. His body immediately shrinks, and Royce has a bit more of a masculine appearance than 2 years ago. His height has surpassed mine, only a small amount of childishness faded, but his behavior and nature didn't change too much. His sword skill increased further to a certain extent, and I feel that he has very gradually reached half of Lior's true strength. How much have you ran today? Sirius. 1 lap of that mountain, I think. After all, my body becomes lighter and more comfortable by transforming. Royce. The mountain which Royce pointed at is 3 kilometers in the distance of a straight line. It is evident that he ran at least 10 kilometers around the mountain. Roy's transformed state has become really strong since he performed it for a short time every morning. Don't be too overconfident, because such a thing will lead to negligence. Serious. Since I can't still win against Aniki even when I transform myself, I cannot be careless. Royce reminded himself while washing his face, and then Amelia called out for breakfast. Taking a little rest after finishing breakfast, the morning training starts. Today, Amelia and Reese are practicing magic and it's a mock battle day for Royce and I. Now the routine of performing training is by substituting disciples to meet each other respectively every other day. What is it, Royce? Your speed has dropped. Serious. Ha, damn it. Royce. Although Royce continuously swings the wooden sword and delivered dozens of swings, I warded all of them away and not a single hit landed on me. Come on, I won't move my feet. Serious. Now you've done it, Royce. When I sweep his feet while evading his diagonal swing from the shoulder and Royce's body is thrown out into the air but he is still swinging his wooden sword forcibly with that posture as is. I admit he has a quick wit but an attack beyond desperation is weak. That attack was stopped easily and Royce crashed his face regrettably onto the ground. HOI, it's over. Serious. Is it no use today too? Royce, who was on the ground, was pulled upright and pointed out his failure. It is best to teach in the sense of defeat in case of him becoming lazy, so I explained to him in details since he won't study and think by himself. It's over slightly early. Let's try to confirm Reese's condition. Good job, Serious Sama, here's a towel. Here's one for you too Royce. Amelia. Thanks, Nei-chan. Royce. Thank you. By the way, how's Reese? Serious. She's practicing over there. Amelia. Looking at Amelia's line of sight while wiping my sweat off with the towel, there was a figure of Reese who's concentrating with closed eyes. Since she specializes in magic unlike Royce, the physical stamina needed is a little and the ratio of magic training is a lot. However, with Royce and Amelia's encouragement, because of the willpower and determination of the person herself, she has splendidly grown into adulthood now. When I went to check on her condition, she opened her eyes and was smiling. How's your condition, Reese? Serious. I'm doing well. Please take a look. Please, Aqua Mist, Reese. She invokes the magic and a fog engulfs Diamond Cottage entirely. The visibility is remarkably restricted. The house that was there a short while ago is no longer visible, as well as, Reese's standing figure starts to get hazy before my eyes. It can be assumed that this is considerably heavy fog. What is this? Aniki. Nei-chan. Where are you, Royce? Calm down, Royce. Stop moving pointlessly, Amelia. While hearing such exchanges from the back, I continuously observed this fog. It seems my search is still effective. After all, it's a magic that only obstructs field of vision. Nevertheless, if it's not used for the wrong purpose, I think it would be helpful during an emergency. But it still needs improvement. This is failure, isn't it? The fog is too dense and everyone will be in danger. Reese. Can you see all of us, Reese? Serious. Yes. As the one who invoked this fog, I can see everyone clearly. Reese. If that's the case, try to include an image of us. If you convey it to your spirit, your expectation will surely be met. Serious. Yes, Reese. Reese closes her eyes while muttering about the image that I pointed out. When speaking about an ordinary person, such a thing is impossible and would be laughed at, but she has understood clearly about the importance of image in these 2 years. Watching over her figure, since there was a feeling of my clothes getting pulled from the back, I turned around and saw Amelia standing there while smiling. Serious Sama, I found you. Amelia. Was it easy to determine within this fog? Did you remember the position where I stood? Sirius. No, it's because of Sirius Sama's scent. Emilia. About my scent, she is brags about chasing after me even if I'm on the other side of the mountain, as she proudly pursues. Putting aside that special skill of Emilia, this fog won't inhibit scent and it's easy to blow it away with wind magic. I'll say this later so that Reese won't be too overconfident. Image, please. Reese. Reese let out a big voice and the white world disappeared suddenly from our surrounding. Reese's figure, who is sitting down, can be seen clearly but not enough to not realize that we're really inside the dense fog. That's good, Reese. I can clearly see your face. Sirius. I can see too. Emilia. Alright. Thank you, Spirit-san. Reese. She's looking at a place where there would be a spirit, saying thanks while turning off the magic. As I expect, when using spirits for magic, the spirit's magic is powerful. When it comes to generating dense fog to this extent, I think as it is invoked by an ordinary magic user, their mana would dry up for certain, but she's only at the degree of sweating on the forehead. How about that, Sirius-san? Reese. Ah, it was very good. However, be careful since the magic has many flaws. For example, Sirius. I remind her in order to prevent from being overconfident by explaining the problems mentioned earlier, and she understood it well with a nod. You've finally obtained the secret of image. I just have this to point, and if circumstances allow, you can put it in practical use, with just a little bit more practice I think. Sirius. Really, Reese? Ah, it's natural since you've been working hard until now. Speaking of the image, if it includes a restorative function in this fog, what is the extent of the restoration that can be done? Sirius. I see. That is a very good idea. Reese. However, you'll most likely to be extremely exhausted. Sirius. No, if something like that can be done, it can heal many people. As expected of Sirius-san. Reese. As for 2 years ago, it's impossible since fog is fog, that's what I would say, but it's a matter of growing up. Nowadays, stating it like that just now in order to challenge magic proactively as well as spending everyday practicing to overturn the common sense of magic. Just like this, it took nearly 2 years to break her common sense, but now it will be proper study from here on. The above mentioned is the outcome of the disciples in 2 years. So as not to lose to the disciples who continue to grow well, if I don't aim for a higher place even more, I won't achieve my target. After that, we tidied up our bodies and then we headed to school. Good morning, Emilia, Reese. Opening parenthesis question mark question. Good morning, Emilia, Reese. Good morning, Aniki. Good. Hey Reese. Hey Reese, I don't understand a certain part of yesterday's subject, so will you teach me? Morning, Aniki. Emilia is coming. Emilia is Did she really turn down Mayor Sama's invitation? Be safe and happy today too. When entering the class, people are gathering around the siblings and Reese. This is the routine every morning, so why does no one gather around me as well? Based on Rue's information, who is Royce #1 underling? It's pointless to greet Oya Bun unless it is passed through Aniki and Inigo, old sister, female boss. It seems the rumor is widespread, and that, since you are able to command a strong person like Aniki as an ally, I think people are afraid of you. Rue. Come to think of it, I was giving instruction to Royce during the trade with Alstor. It was seen by these underlings where there is an absolute hierarchical relationship between me and Royce, and they seem to understand it by seeing that. But that's alright, there is someone who can speak just fine with me. Good morning, Sirius-kun. As usual, the servants are very popular, aren't they? Mark. Today too, while good-looking men scatter, Mark makes his entrance. Despite the waving, silky red hair, he arrived in front of me while greeting with elegance. Good morning, Mark. Their popularity is a good thing, you know. Serious. You're still same as usual. Generally, it is something to be jealous of. Mark. Although I am their master for certain, popularity is something gained by an individual. Besides, it's pointless for non-nobles to feel things like envy. Serious. That's for certain. Oh yeah, the cake that I received yesterday, it was very delicious. Mark. As a matter of fact, it was Mark's birthday yesterday. Since commoners couldn't join the party, I thought I would prepare at least a cake for his present. Mark directs his line of sight to outside the window, squinting his eyes in order to reflect upon happiness. I was shocked. To thinking about the cakes that I have been eating until now, what on earth is the taste of a cake? You really are great. I have said something about inviting Amelia before. If it's good with you, won't you serve my household as well? Of course, I promise a proper position. Mark. I'm grateful about your offer, but I will have to refuse. Serious. Is that so? Understood, but it's really a shame. However, since the limit of being my servant will be removed, I want you to say at any time if you change your mind. Mark. I'm sorry. Serious. Don't mind it. By the way, will you make that cake again? I want more, but my younger brother and sister will want to eat it too for certain. Mark. Cake addicts have increased by one person again. Well, I seem to have a hunch that this will increase by one after another eventually. While I discussed about cakes to Mark, another cake addict who stands out among cake addicts, Magna Sensei, entered the class. While we were engrossed with the topic, it's about time for the morning class to start. Good morning. Today, the morning lesson will be shortened a little since there is a matter we would like to inform everyone about, so it's time for an explanation. Magna. The morning lesson is expected to be a practical lesson, but it seems there is something important to be said. Since gentle Magna Sensei is making a serious face, there was a tense atmosphere in the classroom. Everyone entered Elysian's school and 2 years have passed quickly. Starting from next week, while the morning lesson still will be done here, you will learn in a specialized field classroom based on everyone's preference in the afternoon. Be sure to remember this. Magna. My preference on specialty and the disciples are as follows. I'll go for Magic Engineering Department, Royce is Swordsmanship Department, Amelia is Wind Magic Department, and Reese is Water Magic Department. However, since we have talked about this matter last week, this is not something that can shorten the time for morning lesson. Is there something else? Here on out is the main issue. At the same time when the specialized lessons begin, a labyrinth will be opened. Magna. When hearing about the opening of the labyrinth, the tension among classmates rises. While looking at each other, they exchange eye contact to form a party. Although there seems to be people who know about the labyrinth, the explanation will include the potential risks too. First, the labyrinth refers to the cave to the northwest of this school. Magna. Despite the time with Arena, I thought the school was great during the time when I learned that there was a labyrinth. The school labyrinth is similar to a cave labyrinth that has 10 floors underground. There is no demon, but it's full of traps. There are various traps set up in large quantities, such as flying arrows and the eruption of fire pillars, so by going in unprepared, it may cause a serious injuries. This is traps use magic formations made by a great man in the past. The traps will disappear once they are activated, but it seems that the traps will rematerialize again after short while. It is strange phenomenon, but I guess maybe the labyrinth itself is not one that relies on magic formations alone. A great man of the past, I have a hunch this involves the headmaster who is eating cake happily. As for why such a facility exists in the school, I think that the training location enforces the feeling of getting pressured. There are various labyrinths in the outside world. Although there are numerous treasures hid by people in the past which haven't been discovered, the danger that follows it makes sense. It is essential to have physical strength, willpower, and knowledge when exploring labyrinths, and if there is a mistake, it can be very severe because it could lead to a swift death. One's mistake jeopardizes another person regardless if that person is a noble or commoner. So I know I have to be cautious by watching out the traps. It seems that this labyrinth is made for the sake of gaining personal experience. As a matter of fact, in the case of graduation, it is all right to not pass through the labyrinth, but of course there is a merit when clearing the 10th basement. The merit is the priority right of using the facility, where this will prohibit other parties with the exception of authorized people, and there are other benefits too. The labyrinth can be challenged with a party of 4 people. The first rookie party that clears the labyrinth since opening is said to receive the prestigious mantle that will be presented by the school. The nobles especially are participating actively with that aim. This will become honor for the house as the mantle is conferred, and it stands out among other honors. The labyrinth will be full with nobles for several days after the opening. That is an established rule for every year. By the way, one must apply in advance in order to enter the labyrinth. The morning and afternoon class will be exempted if permitted, and it seems that is the standard of how long an attempt will last for. That is the explanation on labyrinth. If there is any question, since I will accept it anytime, please come to my office. Well then, although it's late, let's go out and start with the practical lesson. Magna. The classmates stand up after Magna-sensei's speech and head towards the training ground. I thought they wanted to invite the siblings or Reese, but the surroundings became quiet. It became clear later, but during the time I wasn't there, it was somehow affirmed that the siblings and Reese don't want to join any groups except with me. I have yet speak whether or not I want to go to Labyrinth, but I wonder what would happen if I say that I didn't want to go. While on the way to training ground, the talks about the labyrinth became lively here and there. Naturally, the subject of our talk is also related to labyrinth. Aniki, are we going to challenge the labyrinth? Royce. We will, of course. This will become training too. Sirius. What will it be like? Since one party consists of 4 persons, ours has already been decided. Royce. You're right. There will be no problem in our case. Amelia. Me too. In order to not slow you down, I will work hard. Reese. We're also having the intention to challenge the labyrinth, but I think we shouldn't go immediately after it has opened. Since the first opening day of the labyrinth will be filled with nobles, some fool might pick a fight with us. When I think about the time to challenge it, the classmates who heard our conversation talked to us. Hey, you guys challenging it too, right? Are you aiming for the first clear mantle? I know, right? It's definitely possible since there are Royce-kun and Amelia. Opening parenthesis question mark closing parenthesis. I have to listen to Sirius-sama about that, so what do you want to do? Amelia. I'll pass because it's troublesome. Sirius. To be frank, something like receiving that mantle is like buying the animosity of nobles, and there's almost no merit for us. If I can savor the mood of labyrinth, it is fine to come over leisurely later. I wonder if that is really important. Opening parenthesis question mark closing parenthesis. I wonder if that is really important. It can't be helped. Since those iron-class guys is likely to be terribly annoying about it. Opening parenthesis question mark closing parenthesis. That's true. Well, what should we do? We will challenge it, of course. But first, we need to find another member, right? The noisy 2 are leaving the classroom while looking for other party members. When we're about to leave the classroom too, I was beckoned by Magna-sensei. I've been looked after in various by him, so I went halfway to Magna-sensei's location. Is there something the matter? Sirius. Are you going to participate on Labyrinth Challenge? Magna. Yes, that's the plan, but is there a problem with that? Serious. No, this is not that kind of talk. In the case of you participating, I will hand this over to you. It's from the headmaster, Magna. What was handed over is a medal with the school insignia drawn on it. There's a gatekeeper standing by at the front of Labyrinth's entrance, and you can pass through if you show this to them. Magna. Although I understand how to use this, but why there is such thing? Sirius. Because I believe Sirius Kun is not employing any adventurers. In particular, since you guys are young, this is to save time for Gatekeeper from worrying. Magna. A party of 4 students can challenge the labyrinth, but to tell the truth, in the case of adding up to 2 extra people, it seems that adventurers who registered to Adventurer Guild can be employed. It takes time to prepare, but it can be seen as showing active service by providing safety, and there's no problem with clearing the labyrinth if they go with the assistant of adventurers. It takes an observant eye to choose excellent adventurers that can help clear the labyrinth. I see, thank you very much. It's impossible to try to challenge it on the day of its opening, but we'll challenge it soon. Sirius. Yes, in the case of Sirius Kun, I think the clear mantle will be conferred rather quickly to you. Magna. That will not do. Nobles will clear it earlier before I enter, you know. Sirius. Is that so? The headmaster has increased the difficulty level this time. Much less than conspicuous means to clear the labyrinth. Oops, any more than that is prohibited. Magna. This person is absolutely leaking it on purpose. Although I can understood that the headmaster is performing the adjustment of labyrinth content, to increase the difficulty is not because I will be there, right? If it's the case of abusing his authority, should I stop supplying cakes to him? Let's investigate Magna Sensei for the time being. I do not understand, grin smile. Magna. Magna Sensei, this time is a sample of Apu fruitcake. Sirius. That's right. Everything is judged by principle, clearly. Magna. Power is meaningless in the face of cake. I have promised to supply cake, must do, even if troublesome, several times in a month, but I have decided that the headmaster needs to take a break from eating cake. It seems that the headmaster lamented very much once he found out about it, but that is not my concern. Nevertheless, since the labyrinth's level of difficulty was not changed, it seems that the headmaster's obstinacy has stuck through. We head to Galgan Company, Elysian branch, right after school. It has a remarkably large building and vast space when compared to other stores. There are non-stop people from coming, as it displays the company's prosperity. We, who are familiar with the scene, make a grand entrance from the back door. Of course, the guard is there, but since our faces are known, he just gave us a slight nod. We entered the office from the back entrance. There were several people in front of the desks glaring at the register and the stock list in the center. A single person notices our appearances, stood up and came, half running. You're here, Donna. Come now, this is not the place, so please come inside. Zack. The one that came to greet us was Zack, who brought us to Elysian. During that time, he was delivering personnel to the Elysian, but he was appointed as the manager of this branch a year ago. 1 year ago, it was a considerable uproar during that time. It was at the Diamond Cottage, which is rarely visited by people. Zack and his boss, Gad, suddenly came in prostrating. Long time no see. However, let me first apologize before greeting you. Gad. I wondered what it could have been about, but when I listened to them talk, what happened along the way, like getting attacked by robbers while promising a safe travel. While I discovered the company's problem of fraudulent evidence, they didn't say anything for 1 year, and it seems they wanted to apologize for that. Well then, what were they doing for this year? Somehow or rather, the surroundings companies were united in hands using weapons against problematic companies who were found with fraudulent evidence. And it seems they have succeeded in crushing them without leaving a trace behind. Few days ago, we merely got rid of the robbers and investigated them. Since that problem has been settled, let's stop with this formal talk. Serious. Donna, that's right. However, if I don't apologize properly, that guy, D, is going to hit me. Gad. After a while, they finally raised up their faces. They laughed heartily while scratching their heads. Then, there was a chat about D being escorted safely, the Reversi game that I handed over, and also about the new portable food, dry noodles. Is it really all right to put that into the market through our company? Honestly, this will create a revolution and I have a feeling that the amount of sales is likely to be outrageous. Gad. I'm not a saint and I'm not worthy to hold it, the dry noodle recipe, only to myself, don't you agree? Besides, it's not necessary to think hard about it. As for this matter, I just want the money for the information, no more than that. Serious. The information that I sold were Reversi game and original portable soup for dry noodles. Understood. To say that even when there is so much profit opposed to the cost of materials, there is no honest judgment, you know. Gad. If that's the case, how about giving some of the monthly sales to me? For the deadline, I leave it to you as long as it is in an appropriate range. Serious. Not bad. Well then, the amount will depend on the situation but is roughly 20% of the sales shares for Donna and a deadline of 1 year, alright? Gad. Although the deadline is good, I have something to say about the share. Since we are good with 10%, I want you to give the remaining 10% to D. Serious. In the letter that arrived a few days ago, it was written that D has successfully opened a restaurant. Since the delivery of special ingredients and seasonings is dependent on the Galgan Company, I want to turn that 10% of sales into compensation. Is that fine? It will be a considerable amount of money even with just 10%, you know? Gad. I don't need that much money now and I don't have hard time because I have entered school. Besides, it is hard to compare to D and I want to do something, even a little, as his master. Serious. What a generous person. Understood, let's make a contract like that. This guy will bring the agreement next time, thank you in advance. Gad. Zach was pushed to the front and I was greeted again. Nevertheless, Zach is laughing strangely. Why is that? From now on, this guy, Zach of Galgan Company, will be appointed as the manager for Elysian branch, so please talk to this guy if you need anything. Gad. I will work hard, so please take care of me, Donna. Zach. Why does he sound so effeminate? The agreement with them was concluded after that. Later on I handed over a letter and some luggage for D and Noel as we disbanded. That is what has transpired and it became the relationship between Zach and I for the year. I am sometimes called to receive the yield, chatting, giving some advice from my knowledge, and building up a good relationship with Zach. Maybe I was called today to be given money. We were invited into the president's office that is not only spacious but also a little extravagant. We listened to Zach's talk while relaxing. This is this month's yield. Although 1 year has passed since the release, the sales haven't fallen and there is no sign of it falling at all. Well, I can't stop laughing. Zach. It's obvious since Aniki thought about it. Royce. I am told by Zach to hold and count the money contained in the pouch he handed over. I am not that particular with the money to that extent and I don't think I will be cheated since he is a reliable companion, but since this is an important exchange between merchants, it is a courtesy to count properly. This yield is certainly the last one, right? It's been a while sometime, but thank you. Serious. No, that was the agreement and we have earned enough. If there is something similar later on, please take care of me. Zach. The business talk was over and then it became a small talk. Even though Zach is older, he doesn't get tired with talking because he is friendly, and since I learned a lot about the market, it became a precious source of information for merchants. The year to enter Labyrinth has finally come. If it's you, it's obvious that you'll get mantle. Zach. I don't really need the mantle, but is it popular among merchants? Serious. If I had to say, it's rather important for nobles. The raw material used to make it is the same with the school robes. A famous magic engineer drew the magic formation personally and the practicality surpasses the school robes. You'll be famous just by having it. This is the talk between nobles, it seems even adults use the mantle. Zack. Hey, it's no wonder why the nobles are flooding the labyrinth in order to procure it. Serious Sama, the labyrinth seems to be considerably difficult according to the story of the upperclassmen students. Amelia. I heard it too. It seems there was also a time that no one clears it after half-year passed since the labyrinth opening. Zack. This is from Rue, I heard that there was a commoner who clear it quickly, Aniki. Royce. The opinions of my disciples are somewhat differ but I think maybe the cause is due to an adjustment error of the headmaster. The difficulty must have been increased when it took 6 months to clear it, and I think the difficulty was lowered down when someone cleared it easily. It is a labyrinth with many irregularities but the difficulty has been increased maliciously this time. I wonder what's in store for us. After that, we were invited to dinner by Zack, so we headed to Perch of Spring Breeze. Roy's tension goes up when eating JYA or a snake after a long time and it's soothing to see that despite different races, Amelia and Reese are close like a family. I was walking a little bit behind while looking at such warming scene, and Zack is suddenly whispering to me in a low voice. Donna, I'm a bit anxious about this matter so I'm going to tell you. Zack. While maintaining a distance so that it won't be found strange by those three who are walking in the front, Zack and I continued our conversation in a low voice that won't be heard by anyone. Listen, Zack. Recently, there has been strange talk. A large amount of magic tools were bought with an unknown money source, and suspicious people are often seen. The word that those guys often said is, revolution. Zack. As a merchant, Zack knows a lot about Underworld. If there is anything I'm worried about behind the scenes, I can inquire about it and Zack will tell me. I was hesitating at the beginning but I approved on investigating deeper on about certain characteristics. It seems like an extremely suspicious story this time. Zack's face looks amazed from beginning to end. However, the balance between the market and the underworld are both taken by the king's ability and the reason to raise a revolution cannot be found. I don't understand why they want to raise a revolution but there are few who approve of it and such a thing like capturing castle where the king's lives is impossible to begin with. It's impossible unless at least half of residents of Elysian are supporters. Zack. I don't understand. King's close aide and son might be planning on something. Serious. I see. If we think about it, there is no end. However, I wonder if it is not a revolution and just the suspicious behavior that is common to nobles. Zack. Nobles? There are so many foolish people for some reason. To say such things like revolution is a trivial reason. Serious. I also agree. Since there's a matter of contest between Donna and the nobles, I'd say you might possibly be marked. If there is anything, please be careful not to get involved. Zack. Thank you for your advice. If there is anything, I'll rely on you. Serious. Alright. In the case of Donna, our Galgan company can shelter you anytime. Please come without reservation even in the nighttime. Zack. I will be careful not to be in such a situation. Serious. When I look at Zack who proudly beats his chest, the disciples were coming back once they realized the distance between us and them. Aniki. Don't walk leisurely, let's go quickly. Royce. Hey, Royce. Calm down a bit. Come now, Serious Sama, since I will assist you, let's go. Amelia. JYA or a snake is delicious, right? I want to eat fast. Royce. My right hand is pulled by Royce, my left hand is pulled unhesitantly by Reese and I am pushed forward by Amelia from the back. You're so popular, Donna. Zack. Haha, really, serious. The most change in these 2 years is our family of 3 has become a family of 4. Although I didn't touch Reese in particular, my hand is pulled just like this nowadays, I'll allow it to this extent. While smiling wryly to the 3 disciples who are influenced by a big appetite, I was made to walk to the spring breezes perch in forcibly.